Story 1. Adding extra ingredients such as chopped vegetables and canned tomatoes to hamburger helper to increase the quantity. Story 2. I like to use bars of soap, and placing the small piece of the old bar onto the new bar is necessary. Story 3. When I couldn't afford meat, I used tinned brown lentils as a minced meat substitute in pasta sauce or lasagna sauce. I can now afford minced meat but add a tin of brown lentils to extend the amount. I like the taste too. Story 4. I check thrift stores and Facebook Marketplace for anything before I buy it new. The only things I truly buy new are socks and underwear. Story 5. I still buy gently used secondhand clothes, accessories, and furniture where possible. I love thrifting and strongly prefer vintage products. They are often cheaper with higher quality fabrics that would cost 3 to 5 times as much today. Story 6. I do a best before night. Whatever is up to date, I eat it. You should try coleslaw and sausages with bread and carrot. Story 7. Save all of your vegetable scraps. All the parts you cut off when prepping food, freeze them. You can use them later to create your own vegetable stock or other stocks like chicken stock. Be sure to wash them well. Save scraps of meat such as chicken bones. Even the parts you do not like the look of still have good flavor. The ends of onions may look unappealing, but you will not be eating them in the stock. You are just extracting all the flavor from them. By the time they finish cooking down, they will be basically mush. Homemade stock is much better for you than store-bought and will save you a lot of money. Some people may even pay for good homemade stock if you choose to sell it. Story 8. I live near several well-known universities. Life tip. Want free or extremely cheap, barely used furniture? Find out which apartment complexes wealthy college students live in and when they move out. Story 9. Not really a hack, but I am perpetually scared to spend money because, despite being relatively well off, I am afraid of being broke again. Story 10. Rice, beans, garlic, olive oil, and soy sauce for days, baby. This $10 budget for a week's worth of food got me through college, and I still do it once in a while, 10 years later. Story 11. Honestly, I am still broke, but a good hack for food is learning to make meals that last all week and freeze well. If you do not have a lot of time to cook, make weekly soups. Secondly, it is a little cheaper to buy 1 pound of hamburger and 1 pound of sausage and mix the two. Sausage is usually cheaper than beef, so you will save a little money when cooking and end up with tastier food because sausage gives your dinner meat a better bite. Story 12. My wife and I drive 20-year-old cars. We could buy new cars with cash, but the old ones still run fine. Story 13. Buy food in bulk to limit grocery trips. Meal plan by eating the perishable items like bread, eggs, vegetables, fruit, and milk first. Then gradually work my way into the frozen foods and pantry items. Repeat this process. This prevents meal burnout by providing a variety of meals and reduces grocery trips due to less food expiring. Story 14. Calling my internet and cable company every 6 to 12 months to tell them I am going to cancel keeps me at the best price. I have saved quite a bit of money for the same service over the last decade. Story 15. Free entertainment includes going to the beach, hiking, spending time in a third space, participating in the local community, and being aware of free events, which are very common. Story 16. Buying secondhand is cheaper, usually of better quality, generates less waste, and involves no excess packaging. Additionally, it is usually already assembled. Story 17. I have a plastic bag full of smaller plastic bags. The small plastic bags are used as trash bags, lunch bags, cat litter disposal bags, and packing bags for shoes when going on trips and other activities. Story 18. My parents bought me a 1997 Holden Commodore for my 18th birthday. I am 31 now and still driving the same car. If I won the lottery tomorrow, I would still be driving the same car, but I would probably get it resprayed. Story 19. I keep canned beans, a bag of rice, oil, onion powder, and garlic powder because this way I know I will always have food. Story 20. Learn to freeze and thaw food, and buy as many of your groceries from Costco as possible. In my opinion, if you learn how to use that volume, you pay about 50% compared to a normal store. Story 21. I add water to soap and shampoo bottles when they get low. The diluted soap still works fine. I learned it from my mother and do it out of habit now. Story 22. The misprints stack in the paint store. I will happily keep checking until a color I love appears. It is a fun hunt, especially if you have an idea but are not absolutely set on precisely one exact color. There is no chance I am paying $80 for a gallon of paint. Story 23. I do not know if this is a poor person's life hack, but for me it is buying groceries in bulk. Also, putting bread in the refrigerator if it is close to expiry and freezing food that can possibly spoil overnight. Story 24. Applying some hot glue to the areas of your shoes that wear out quickly before a long walk or a game of basketball or pickleball will extend the life of your shoes. Epoxy works as well. Story 25. Keeping my paid-off car and repairing it myself rather than buying another. It has 273,000 miles on it, and I have spent just under $2,500 on repairs. If I had taken it to a shop for all of the repairs, the cost would have been closer to $12,000. Story 26. Take tampons from my gym. Never paying for them again. Orange Theory charges me enough that I can do this guilt-free. Story 27. I still change my own oil, change my own brakes, and do my own grocery shopping. Literally today, I spent the day building a retaining wall in my yard. I'm exhausted. There is no better feeling than a hard day's work. Story 28. Using plastic shopping bags as trash can liners is common. I learned later in life that some people actually purchase plastic bag liners instead of using grocery bags. That's surprising to me. Story 29. Fat jar in the fridge. Fat cannot go in the sink and does not work in the trash because the bags can easily get holes. I put my rendered beef, pork, or chicken fat into a jar and use it for eggs or anything that needs some food lubrication. Story 30. I cut my own hair with a buzz cutter. It is less about the money and more about the convenience of getting it done quickly. Story 31. Check the floor under vending machines for dropped coins. We used to walk by the parking meters after the first snow melt too, but now they are mostly cashless, so no one is dropping coins in the snowbanks. Story 32. I grow my own vegetables and herbs. I will never stop doing that. My setup is more expensive now and my tools cost more, but I used to do it because I was broke and I saved the food and stored it for the cold months. Now I still save the food because I get tasty items and a variety that is not sold. Story 33. I have a full-time job that pays well enough for me to live comfortably. However, I maintain 2 side projects. If my main job ever ended, I could easily dedicate more time to the side projects and would not immediately need to rely on my savings. Story 34. Driving a 1992 model year car because it still works and I like it. Using paper towels instead of napkins, tearing each paper towel in half because I do not really need a whole paper towel as a napkin. Story 35. Refusing to use services like Uber, DoorDash, Instacart, and others. These are legitimately luxury services, yet people treat them as essential. You pay 20 to 50% more for everything, assuming you are a decent person and tip. It is surprising how many people I see at work complaining about being broke. Yet they order DoorDash from Wendy's instead of packing lunch. I can afford it now, but spending $35 to order a pizza I could pick up down the street for $23 still feels like burning money. Story 36. Vote for a left-leaning government. Even when you are not broke anymore, it is still nice that others have a safety net and do not commit crimes in your neighborhood. I have been doing this neat little trick that I inherited from my grandmother for many years now, and it works really well. Story 37. Reuse any plastic container for food or other storage. Butter tubs, Cool Whip containers, and the containers used for salads in the deli are all good to save. Why bother buying expensive glass storage containers? Story 38. Buying secondhand whenever I can. Most of my wardrobe is from charity shops. The same goes for books, kitchen items, and Christmas decorations. I also cut up worn-out clothes to make cleaning rags. Story 39. Boxed macaroni and cheese made without milk, using only butter. Butter and bread served with every meal. Leftovers are very valuable. Story 40. Not having a car, using the bus and bicycle instead, or just walking if it is less than 5 kilometers, saves me hundreds every month. The parking spot alone would cost €130 per month, not mentioning the fuel at €2 per liter, insurance, yearly inspections, repairs, or the car itself. The car is the most taxed item there is. Story 41. Still poor, living alone, and here are some poor hacks I stick with and probably will even when I'm better off. I eat the same thing almost every day. Oats for breakfast, apples and carrots for snacks, leftovers for lunch, and roast chicken with vegetables and rice for dinner. It's cheap, healthy, and nothing goes to waste. The houses around mine have citrus trees, so when they are fruiting I collect mandarins, oranges, lemons, and limes. I haven't bought fruit in season for a while now. For laundry, I use vinegar, bicarbonate soda, and a few drops of lavender oil. Costs me $5.35 for about 2 weeks worth, and it works just fine. I water down hand soap, dish soap, and even toothpaste. They last much longer and still do the job. I stopped using shampoo and conditioner. I just use a plain bar of soap. My scalp feels less irritated and it saves money. I walk everywhere. Grocery day gets interesting when I have bags hanging off both arms, but it is free exercise and I don't spend anything on transport. I haven't bought new clothes in over 2 years. I just rotate what I have and fix stuff if it rips. At night, I usually light candles instead of using lights. It saves power and gives the place a chill vibe. I am planning to start a vegetable and herb garden soon. I am still getting things together for that. Story 42. At a fast food restaurant, I will take a large number of napkins for home. My grandmother did it, and I will keep the family tradition going. Story 43. Started buying ties and books at thrift stores. Over the years, I have looked further and purchased all kinds of items at thrift stores, including exercise and camping gear, crafting items, and tools. I have also purchased new suits with retail tags still attached from thrift stores. I found buried treasures at a year-round garage sale. So much fun too. Story 44. I split paper towels in half to double the lifespan of the roll. It is more about reducing waste, but paper towels are expensive either way. Story 45. Cooking for yourself saves a lot of money. You can make better food than most restaurants with very little effort. Story 46. I wear my t-shirts until they are a ghost of a shirt. That is when they become the best summer t-shirts, between 10 and 15 years of regular wear. It is like not wearing a shirt at all, but you are allowed in stores. Story 47. Researching items before purchasing can save money in the long run. Although quality products can be pricey, waiting for sales to buy lasting items has been beneficial over the years. Do not wait to buy daily essentials when you run out. Purchase them on sale even if you have some stock, such as toothpaste, toilet paper, and soap. Additionally, inexpensive ramen can be enhanced easily. Eggs were once affordable as well. Story 48. Not necessarily a poor person life hack, but as a student, I used to buy store brand products, and honestly, I see it making good financial sense more than 20 years later. I still buy a large percentage of store brand products, and it saves a significant amount of money. Story 49. Do your own brakes. It's easy. I am going to save $1,500 tomorrow on rotors and pads all around. 3 hours maximum equals $500 per hour. Large vehicle. A shop that has never tried to upsell me anything and passes all my cars for inspection quoted me $1,950. Parts cost me $450. Story 50. I buy block cheese and slice it or grate it as needed. It is much cheaper than buying sliced cheese. Plus, the shredded cheese in stores has a coating to keep it from clumping. I can now taste the difference. I buy cloth napkins and dish rags on clearance. I never buy paper napkins and rarely buy paper towels. Story 51. I still stand soap and shampoo bottles upside down to get every last drop out of them. They typically last anywhere from 2 weeks to 1 month. Story 52. I still mostly shop at thrift stores for clothes and at Aldi for food. I cannot pay more for things when I know I can get them for less, even if money is not the issue. I also sew up holes in our clothes until they are beyond repair. I do not throw things out unless I absolutely have to. Story 53. I never keep a balance on a credit card unless it is an emergency, and then it is paid off as a priority. To be fair, I am still pretty poor, not broke though. Story 54. Rice is proof of its versatility. A bag of rice is very useful. You can use it with a can of soup and cooked rice, or with leftover rotisserie chicken and rice. Rice can be used to bulk out many dishes. Story 55. I take a toothbrush from flights. I collect toothbrushes, shaving kits, and tea bags from hotels. I keep extra tissues or wet wipes from McDonald's or other food places in my bag. I take advantage of all available discounts, no matter how small. Story 56. One tea bag makes more than 1 cup of tea. Affordable sewing kit for basic clothing repairs. Use cruise control to maximize vehicle fuel efficiency. Use half the recommended amount of washing powder and wash in cold water only. Story 57. Make a batch of rice with most meals. It makes the meal go further and is more filling. Rice is affordable and easy to prepare, especially with a rice cooker. Story 58. I always bring my own thermos of coffee. I buy whatever coffee is on sale and always dilute it with 25% extra water. I have a warm beverage all morning. I do not get the jitters, and I pay a small fraction of what my coworkers do who stop at a coffee shop. Story 59. Doing the math to get the per gram, kilogram, or pound value of the food I am buying instead of justifying the price based on looks. Most store tags in Canada have either per 100 grams or per kilogram value on the tag in small print. The law of supply and demand combined with the law of expiration dates influences quality. Supply and demand dictate quality items. Usually, there is a surplus that will expire. To cover the cost, stores drop the price to make up for the total loss. This means if I am patient and observant of what is a cheap price, I can get high-quality items like steak for $5 to $10 per pound when it can go up to $25 to $50 per pound at times. It also means I never really shop with a list but settle for what I find. I have learned to enjoy it like a game. Story 60. Do not do this regularly anymore, but when you are in a situation where there is no toilet paper or paper towels, use coffee filters. Story 61. I cut my lotion bottles and tubes in half to get every last bit. It is amazing how many more days of moisturizing you get. Story 62. Not a poor person's hack per se, but cook a roast meat on a Sunday and repurpose it for lunches throughout the week. Sandwiches, packaged ramen with a bit of cheese. I usually manage to get to Thursday before I run out. Story 63. Using a vegetable chopper before my vegetables go bad and freezing them. When I need some, I lay them out to drain excess water. My mother is from Vietnam. She taught me to waste literally nothing. Plus, it is super convenient to have chopped bell peppers, onions, cucumbers, do not freeze those, and so on for stir fries and salads. I never realized how long chopping up ingredients took until I meal prepped. Also, not to mention how much I saved. You can even make spiral vegetable noodles with those tools. Story 64. I still eat ramen noodles years after college. They are quick to prepare and tasty to eat. The low cost is just a bonus at this point. Story 65. Make my own liquid laundry detergent and Dawn Power Wash. So easy and so cheap. 5 gallons and 1 gallon at a time for far less than a single store-bought purchase. Story 66. When I make burgers, sausages, or hot dogs, I use regular slices of bread instead of purpose-specific buns. I never thought of it as a poor person life hack until some people overreacted. It was as if I tried to poison them. On the plus side, now I know to buy the fancy bread when I'm grilling for company, and who not to invite. I am also eating a sausage peasant style as I type this. Story 67. Skipping meals. Is lunch really necessary? Now that I have money, I don't really want to buy anything. I bought an expensive ring, custom made in the United Kingdom, to commemorate the death of the love of my life, my cat, the most important part of my existence. And I just feel numb. I get no joy out of spending money. Story 68. I like technology. Every Zoom job interview, the interviewer asked if I was a professional streamer based on all my equipment. However, I used an iPhone 3GS for about 13 years, and I would still be using it if it had not broken. Story 69, Cars. I bought a new one in 2006. Never again. It is still in good condition, and I use it to drive when it is just me. My significant other learned a lot of car maintenance and keeps it in good running order. Now we have 3 children, and we started saving every penny after the second was born for a bigger car. We just bought a used van and paid cash. It fits our children well, and we use the 2006 car for quick errands. We hope to have it for our oldest when they turn 16. Story 70. The top answer is scraping toothpaste from inside the tube, and the second is driving a nice car from 20 years ago. Story 71. If I cannot buy it on sale, I do without for certain things like Triscuits. I really like them for an easy, hearty snack, such as a base for cheese or tuna salad. However, the regular price at the local Safeway is $4.99 a box, which is expensive to me. So, when there is a deal, currently with a digital coupon making it less than $2 a box, I stock up. Story 72. I drive an old car, and I'm driving it into the ground. My wife makes a lot of money but has also had periods of not making money for months, so we save as much as we can to get through difficult times. When someone is earning a lot, it's easy to want to buy everything, but waiting and being happy with your 2008 Outback is better for your bank account. It means more vacations and adventures. And if things go wrong, you have a very reliable car and don't have to worry about expensive repairs. Story 73. Cowboy boy food is still as good as it was when I was a kid. Frankfurters, beans, corn, peas, whatever mixed together. Story 74. When my shampoo or soap has about 10% left, I fill it up with water, making it like a brand new diluted bottle. Story 75. I save gift cards in case I need them for food and gas when I do not have any money. I also pay for things in advance in case I do not have money when they are due, even though that is unlikely. If I could afford to prepay my rent for the whole year, I would probably do that to have security in case I do not have the money on the first of the month, even though I can afford my rent just fine. Story 76. Mac and cheese with tuna and frozen peas. I used to eat a lot of it when I was young and poor. I still eat it occasionally now for a quick meal. I call it poor man's casserole. Bonus. My kids always liked it. Story 77. I am still broke, but I put all of my loose change in a jar all the time to save for hard times. Usually, I can get $100 or more from the jar when I exchange it at the Walmart coin machine after it takes out its fee. Currently, I am too broke to even put coins in the jar, but it is what it is. Story 78. Cycling and walking everywhere and taking public transportation. I do this because I like it and because I think it is unreasonable to spend over $10,000 a year on a 2-ton vehicle to transport myself. Story 79. Tactics remained from college days when we did not have money. I think of creative dishes where I can use expired or nearly expired ingredients I found in the fridge. My wife is skilled at ignoring ingredients she does not like or finds too much work when cooking. I am the expert at hiding ingredients in dishes. After she finishes her meal, I disclose what was in it and how much was expired or how much I had to cut off from a partially spoiled zucchini. Never became ill. Expiry dates are very conservative. If it smells and looks good, you will be fine. Story 81. Reusing grocery bags as trash bags. Reusing wide-mouth glass bottles. Using coupons. Keeping only 1 or 2 streaming services active at a time. Freezing lunch for the week. Story 81. In the 1970s, they had salvage stores. All the canned foods were dented. My mother shopped there when my father was laid off. The closest thing to that now is Ollie's and Big Lots. However, I think Big Lots stores are all closing. Story 82. Toast sandwich for breakfast. 3 slices of inexpensive bread from the reduced stand, with the middle slice toasted, salt and pepper added, and then eaten. United Kingdom bread is fortified, providing all your required daily vitamins. Brown or wholemeal bread supplies most of your dietary fiber as well. This meal idea is from the charity Live Below the Line, which promotes living on 1 pound of food for 5 consecutive days. Story 83. As much as possible, I try to use what I already have instead of buying new items. I have these nice wooden salt and pepper grinders from Crate and Barrel, bought over 10 years ago. One of them was broken. They were also kind of dusty and dirty. Rather than buy new ones, I fixed the tiny loose screw in the broken one and washed them. They are sitting on my counter now, looking and working as well as the day I bought them. Story 84. I soak the elbow noodles from Kraft Dinner in water all day. They become almost comically huge. If I know I am going to have Kraft Dinner for dinner at night, I put them in a pot of water before I leave the house that morning. You do need to change the water as it is quite starchy, but it doubles or triples the volume of food you get from a box. I am not a starving university student anymore, but this is still my favorite way to eat macaroni and cheese. Story 85. Do not own many things. Keep it simple. More property means more responsibility. Additionally, it keeps your place nice and tidy. A few decorative pieces and a few plants, real or fake, and you are all set. Story 86. I am still poor, so adjust this to taste. I go to the food pantry first and supplement meals with what I get from there, adding the items I need to purchase. The no longer broke strategy for this is to buy clearance items and try to build meals around them. Story 87. Cheap man's carbonara. Basically bacon bits, store-brand cream cheese. Sometimes they have nice flavored ones like garlic and herb, and pasta. Vegetables can be added too. Takes 10 minutes, very tasty hot or cold, and a tiny splash of water loosens it up for the next day. Story 88. An Uber to the airport costs around $30 from my house. I usually take the train instead for $2.50 unless I am traveling very early or late in the day. Story 89. I drive with my air conditioning off for the last few miles home, so by the time I get home, the 80 to 82 degrees, I keep my home air conditioning, it feels cool. Story 90. Grow and process my own meat and split about 4 cords of firewood a year. I saw these activities once as survival skills. I now see them as hard-earned prestige that can only come from experience. Story 91. When I am tempted to buy something that was not planned, I put it on hold for a couple of days to see if I still want it then. I have usually forgotten about it by that time. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.